Good morning. I hope you're having a good start to your week. It is PRBites for Tuesday, the 6th of August. And today, what have I got for you? Why did the shooting guy at the Olympics go viral? Did you see that picture of the pistol shooter? What film reviews and modern YouTube can teach us about truth making? And what would you do with our fictional celebrity today in our scenario? Starting off, though, with the I Spotted section in the PRBites. By the way, just a reminder, I'll just say this for a couple more weeks, is that if you're new to this, this is me reading aloud the newsletter that I do twice a week, which you can get at the publicrelationspodcast.com if you click on the newsletter button. It is PRBites, the newsletter. So I just read it aloud twice a week on the podcast now, on this podcast feed. Okay, so the I Spotted section, and this is kind of debate and technique discussion in the industry going on right now, and things that I've spotted which I think we can learn something from. Number one, making truth. I've been looking at some YouTube videos over the weekend, some politics and some coverage of the rioting in the United Kingdom. And it's interesting how much that this coverage and the content that's out there is using presuppositions. And by presuppositions, I mean a statement that in order for you to understand it, you need to accept something else to be true. So, for example, a YouTube video might ask, why is Disney failing? The presupposition here is that it is actually failing. That's what you have to accept to understand that title. Another one might be why Trump or Kamala got X wrong. The assumption is that everyone agrees that they're wrong. Another one I saw was UN expert dismisses a government report. Well, do you know how many UN experts there are? But there's still this kind of assumption that the UN is an independent and objective body. You can see presuppositions are being used in all these. So you pick a sentence that they know the audience want to believe, whether it's true or not. This then triggers supporters who want to find evidence to reinforce their own views, and triggers opponents who then get angry, comment, and boost the video through the algorithm. So what can we learn about this from a PR and publicity perspective? And people might accuse PR firms of using these techniques, but frankly, the public is pretty damn good at them themselves. I think the easiest way to approach this is to actually try some steps. So as you're listening to this right now, go through this with me in your head if you can. So number one, think about what campaign you are doing right now. Any of them will do, literally any for this little exercise. And if not, just make one up quickly in your head. What might you be doing soon in your organization? You got that in your head? Just anything, any campaign you might be doing. Okay, number two, what is the call to action of that campaign? What do you want people to do as a result of the campaign? Do you want them to buy something or adopt an idea? What is it? Got it? Number three, what message are you trying to convey to make them take that action? So, for example, Apple's 1,000 Songs in Your Pocket didn't say buy an iPod. They said something that made you think, ooh, I want that iPod. And the presupposition is that there's a device out there that we've got that will allow you to do it. You know, another might be moving away from Apple just for once. Another might be for a financial services firm. And the statement might be how I sorted out my retirement before lunch. Again, it's an assumption that something else must be valid in order to get the next thing. So what message is it that you're trying to convey to make them take action that you're doing at the moment? Can you think about that? If not, of course, read the newsletter a bit later and I've got the steps in there. Number four, is my audience wanting to hear this? Do they want to believe what you say, or will it provoke a reaction? Should be able to answer that pretty quickly. And finally, how can you encapsulate that in a short, simple statement that is clear-cut, isn't waffly, and it's either true or false? It can't be grey. It can't have shades of grey in there as to whether it might be a bit of true or not. It's got to be as clear-cut as possible. It's either true or false. You know, you can see how presuppositions are used to the extreme in clickbait articles all the time. You know, they might say something like, 110-year-old woman still plays tennis. So the presupposition is, how did she do that? And how can I do that too? Now, presuppositions, I think, work so much better than traditional marketing. Instead of having that classic advert where you say, buy this because it's good, it bypasses our natural resistance to an advert and a statement that we're tired of hearing, that kind of advertising frame. And with presuppositions, while we focus on the topic, our subconscious is adopting the idea that we had to process in order to understand that title or that content. So should you use presuppositions? Well, a lot of YouTubers certainly do. And beyond a few minutes of fun, I hope that what you do will actually be changing people's lives or helping them in some way. People who like an idea are the kind of people who want to accept it anyway. So if you're putting across a concept or some kind of solution or some kind of dream that they can buy into, they want it. You're selling them something that they want. So if communicating what you do effectively is the goal of PR comms, then presuppositions could certainly be a good tool. Right, that was a long one. Let's move on to another couple of quick ones in the I Spotted section. Can you have a day off in PR? Around the world, there seem to be all sorts of stories going on at the moment about governments pledging to give employees the right to switch off. But PR Week raised the question, will this apply to PR practitioners? And I think we all know the answers on that. When the public stops thinking, PR will be able to have the day off, right? Has anyone seen any signs the public are going to be taking a day off anytime soon? And the third item in the I Spotted, in a moment I'll get onto our scenario that we'll look at today about our celebrity, also some things that are happening as well, and also a couple of comments from the community and a quick tip from a guest too. But let's have a quick look at this third one, and this was to do with AI tools. And over the weekend, I saw an article in Forbes where someone claimed you could use AI to generate a personal brand. So I thought, okay, well, let's give this a try. And this is the prompt that I tried that they suggested in that article. And it said, imagine I'm the go-to person, and I put PR in this particular case. Your task is to reverse engineer how I get there, taking inspiration from magnetic leaders. My goal is to create a personal brand so compelling that it naturally attracts my target audience and inspires them to follow my lead. Suggest unconventional ways I can demonstrate my expertise and charisma to become an irresistible force in my field. These methods should be bold, slightly controversial, and impossible to ignore. And four suggestions it came up with quite a few actually, was number one, host controversial conversations and live events to discuss hot topics in the world of PR. Could you do this? Maybe in your organization? I could certainly do some of that, I suppose. I've had stand-up rows with guests when I presented news radio in the past. I don't know, it's not quite where I want to be now, but I get the point. Number two was the next one was to create a fail forward series where you develop a content series where you share your most significant failures and the lessons you've learned. I've certainly done that kind of thing in the past. Number three of the four was implement a no-filter social media strategy. Adopt a transparent and unfiltered approach to your social media presence and be honest and blunt. I think I do that every so often. And number four, develop a bold prediction report and publish an annual or biannual report with daring predictions about the future of PR and comms. Could you use some of those ideas? What would work? Should I do it? Should you do it? Have you seen any good AI prompts that you've actually applied to your own personal brand or to a client or even to a campaign in a specific way? Something that's given you a specific idea that you've used. I would love to know if you have. Right, next section, it is called It's Happening, and this is where I have a quick look at some of the things that have been happening in the news and see what we can pick up from a PR technique point of view. And I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the Turkish pistol shooter at the Olympics who went viral. And while other competitors were using all kinds of high-tech tools and headphones and glasses to help them shoot, he stood there with his hands in his pockets, both eyes open, shot and won a silver medal. And you can't help but love the simplicity of the shot. Yes, pun intended there. You could make a list of the messages that it sends out. And I mean, for me, if you look at that picture, it looks like a friend down the street. He's natural. He's not precious. He's not pretty. He's just talented and he's just a regular person. So can we use that? Can we use that image? Not really. You can't really use the image, not unless you want to talk to the Olympics lawyers. But it does remind us to think about what messages our images are sending and how powerful getting it right can be and how a really simple, raw, just average person can be more powerful than millions spent on some kind of AI or CGI generated advertising. Right, let's have a quick look at our puzzle, the first part of it, before I get to the community section and a quick tip from a guest. Here's the puzzle today. So you find yourself in a sleek office overlooking the city. You represent a celebrity client known for their charitable work and public appeal. It can't go wrong, can it? The tranquility, though, is shattered when news surfaces and an old friend of the celebrity is giving interviews claiming your client made an insensitive remark 15 years ago. Let's just say insensitive remark. It could be anything you can imagine, but something that is not well accepted now. Your client insists they can't remember saying it to you when you ask them and has since fallen out with this person. But the media is pressing for comment and social media is buzzing. Your response needs to be swift and strategic. As always, I've got just two options for you, which as always is tough, but Here we go. Two options. Option A, do you advise your client to issue a statement acknowledging the allegation, expressing regret for any hurt caused, and emphasizing their current values and commitment to learning? Or option B, do you recommend a strategy to question the credibility of the claim, citing their broken relationship with the ex-friend, while reiterating the client's commitment to inclusivity? Keep reading or keep listening to the end. Like I say, this is a newsletter. It's a PRBites newsletter. And I will give you my thoughts on that in a few moments' time. Two other quick sections, though, before we get to that and before I round up completely for today. I had a few conversations recently about the future of PR. And I'm convinced, as you might know, that PR has a bright future, but only if it adapts. And a lot of people feel that PR needs more PR and promotion. But certainly speaking to people, there's not a lot of people who've got much time to do that. And one person raised the question of sharing the techniques that they use and a kind of reluctance to do that in case it made their existing clients feel vulnerable as well. You know, I think there's still a very strong agreement, though, that the world of business needs to be re-educated about the power of PR. And it's certainly something that I want to do more of in the future. And if you have any thoughts on the best way of doing that, I would love to hear from you too. Of course, you can always reach me on LinkedIn by searching for Richard Midson, Midson. Don't forget to connect with me as well if you haven't already there. Right, quick tip from guests, then I'll round up with my conclusion to the scenario for today, and then that's it for today. So, quick tip from the guest, and this was another one from Helen Barnett, the former head of website at the Express newspaper in the United Kingdom, and she's now a content strategist. And the point was to remember to utilize real-time data to craft tailored stories that resonate with your audience. But instead of just looking at the story content, look at the emotional journey of the story that resonated. So what are the key emotional themes, irrespective of the subject, that connected with people? And by understanding the emotional themes and the desire of the audience, you can create more stories around that theme, whatever the subject is next time. Okay, one final bit, and then that's it for today. And that is the section, what did you think of today's scenario? And as usual, having two choices, as I say, is always so tough, as there are many ways of approaching this particular scenario. But if I was forced to choose out of those two, I think I'd probably go for option A. I'd say the client doesn't remember making the comment, but if they did, they regret it wholeheartedly. You know, the problem is that being defensive is likely to lead to more coverage and is likely to just backfire. Even if they never said it, even if they don't remember ever saying it, it's going to be really hard to, unless, I suppose, if they do come out and really passionately say, I would never say that. I literally would never say it. It might work, actually, that, if they really come across as genuine and authentic. But the problem is that the slightest hesitancy in their voice, yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think it depends. I think it depends on the celebrity as well, how authentic, what kind of authenticity their brand has as well, whether people like them, trust them, and all this kind of thing. And also, the person making the accusations, what's the kind of public persona of that person too? Anyway, as I say, we've only got two choices here. Certainly questioning the accuser's credibility publicly is likely to backfire at this stage, but off the record, I mean, in briefings, it's always possible it might help. Gosh, this is a complex situation, actually, isn't it? One other thought, though, is once the celebrity has made the statement, they should probably go quiet. But what do you think? How would you handle this on the limited knowledge that we have around the situation here? Which is always going to be tough. That's it for today. You've been listening to PR Bites. You can get it, as always, if you go to publicrelationspodcast.com, thepublicrelationspodcast.com, click on the newsletter link, and you can get a email copy of this sent out to you twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday. For the moment, though, have an absolutely awesome middle of your week. I will have another one of these on Thursday, and I'll speak to you real soon. Bye.